Welcome to this latest Emerging Threats Group video. In this video we will once again be doing like a red flag snarl scenario over Nevada in the United States. There will be the 4th generation fighter test, which is on the Blue Force 12 Royal Air Force Typhoon FGR-4 fighters with a wedge tail in support against 12 United States Air Force F-15EX Eagle 2 fighters also with a wedge tail in support. It is worth noting that the RAF will be flying out of Nellis Air Force Base in southern Nevada, whereas the Americans will be flying out of Fallon in northern Nevada. The biggest change to the Typhoon, in fact the only change to the Typhoon, is the Captor E ECRS Mark II radar. As you can see here, that almost has doubled the range of the old mechanically stand version, and its range is now 185 nautical miles. It is also a lower probability of intercept radar, meaning that it's going to be a lot more difficult to detect on a radar warning receiver, even a fairly modern one. The F-15EX Eagle 2 is a very different aircraft even from its predecessor, the Echo model Eagle or the Charlie model Eagles. It does have a more advanced ESA radar, which is also LPI. It has a longer range radar than I believe even the F-35 has in the game. The only downside it has is its Tiger Eyes pod is a step back from the Talonhate pod that we just see in the last video, but it does have the Eagle passive active warning survivability system, which does have more advanced DECM than DAS does and a more advanced radar warning receiver. The DAS can apparently do a larger operating band still, but the EPORS has cognitive EW abilities. Apparently the EX may also still have its older electronic warfare capabilities as well. How much of a use they are, we'll have to wait and see. They may not do an awful lot against the Meteor and the new Captor E Mark II radar. Where the EX will have an advantage is it is a fly-by-wire aircraft as opposed to the older Eagles, and probably most importantly it has the AIM-260 JATM missile, which does actually outrange the Meteor slightly. Even though it's a dual pulse rocket motor, it does have a long fuel burn time, and it is going up against a ramjet on the Meteor. Testing does seem to indicate the AIM-260 has a larger no escape zone than the Meteor, so we may see the F-15 fire first and get the first kill. The ASRAAM is a superior missile in many circumstances to the AIM-9X, certainly in terms of range and speed. So we'll have to see if any of them actually get into that kind of range. And without any further ado, we will crack on with the test. It'll be interesting to know exactly who's going to come out on top of this, so make your predictions. I mean, the Typhoon won the last one against the Charlie model Eagle without too much drama. I think it's going to be closer this time around. I actually wouldn't surprise me if the EX comes out on top, mostly because of the JATM and also because it's carrying more JATMs. As we did in the last video, we're going to do one video from the side of the Royal Air Force and one video from the side of the United States Air Force, and we'll see just who detects who first. In fact, we already have a bead on the F-15s and we already know the F-15s. That was a lot quicker than the older radar. Yet at 182 nautical miles, almost 183, the Typhoon's Captor ESA radar did detect this was a Eagle 2 aircraft. I do believe that will be longer than the radar on the F-15EX, but we'll have to wait and see. Typhoons have skipped Super Cruise, they've gone to full afterburner. Eagles have also gone to full afterburner, they're speeding in for the merge. Typhoons are theoretically in Meteor range, but both aircraft are going to fire at their no engagement zone limits, or no escape zone limits. And yep, those are the AIM-260s, they have fired on the Typhoon first. Typhoons have not yet returned fire, they are still heading towards the missiles. And the Typhoons have now fired. So far the Typhoons managed to dodge those missiles. Oh, the first Typhoon has bitten the dust. They have taken a couple of Eagles with them though. These are both probably some of the most advanced 4.5 gen fighters in the world. It will be interesting to see out just exactly which ones come on top. There are a plethora of missiles currently flying around from both sides. It does look like the Eagles might just be on top at the moment. There just seems to be more of them left than Typhoons. They're also firing more missiles than the Typhoons seem to be. And the meteors are being redirected in flight. Didn't shoot that one down there. At the moment we're down to 3 Typhoons and there's at least 5 Eagles there. So at the moment the Eagles are on top and the Typhoons must be running out of meteors. Yep, only this jet has some left. Oh, one of his playmates has just gone down. In fact, he is now the only aircraft left. He is unleashing his final 4 meteors. Can he dodge these 2 AIM-260s? Can, but it doesn't look like his meteors are going to score any more kills. Nope. He's going to have to close into ASRAM range. He has fired an AMRAAM and shot down another Eagle, but there are 3 more closing on him, and they do still have AIM-260s left. He's going to be very lucky to survive this fight, especially his 3-to-1 ratio. Oh, he has damaged another Eagle, but now he is out of missiles, and he's choosing to run away. He can super cruise, unlike the Eagle, but I mean the Eagles do have plenty of fuel. They do have thermal fuel tanks, but it looks like the Eagles aren't trying to overtake him. And the Typhoon is hightailing out of there. Can't really blame him. All his mates have been shot down. Oh, and that Eagle hasn't had enough yet there. He is keeping up with him. He is still launching missiles. How many missiles is this EX carrying still? Well, this Typhoon's having a very lucky day so far, or unlucky day depending on how you might see it. He is using up his countermeasures. All these decoys have now been fired. And the Typhoon has finally bitten the dust. It took a while to get the last one down, but there was no escaping those Eagles with their 12 plus missiles on board. And if we look at the scoring, we do see that 12 Typhoon FGR-4s were destroyed, and with the loss of 9 F-15EX Eagles, they did fire 35 meteors and even a couple of ASRAAMs, and the EXs fired over 60 AIM-260s and 2 Sidewinders as well. We will now repeat the video, but from the F-15EX point of view. So now we will see how the F-15EXs do against the Typhoons from their side of the equation. As you can see here, looking at how much fuel they have 2 external fuel tanks and 2 conformal fuel tanks as well, giving them a lot more gas than the Typhoon has. That is one of the Typhoon's biggest disadvantages. At the moment, neither the Wedgetail nor the Eagles have managed to detect the Typhoons. The Typhoon does have a slightly smaller radar cross-section, though it is not a stealth aircraft. They did get a bead on the Typhoon at about 300, just under 350 nautical miles. Eagles are flying in just below Mark 1 as they don't have the ability to super cruise as far as I'm aware, certainly not with a weapons load. Speed up the simulation slightly. They have now gone to afterburner. With their fuel tanks, it does mean they can afterburner for a while. And they have fired a lot of AIM-260s there. I think that's over 8 missiles been fired. Typhoons have returned fire with the meteors. Well, we have lost an Eagle. I'm not sure if any Typhoons have gone down yet. It does look like there are copious amounts of missiles heading towards the Typhoons. The aircraft are having to go defensive, which means it's a lot more difficult than to return fire on the Eagles. So it's almost become suppressing fire at this point. There's only so much you can do about this many missiles, and unless you're in a very low observable aircraft like the F-22 or F-25. Yep, I mean the Typhoons do have their decoys on board, which may help them avoid one, maybe two missiles, but anything more than that, they're going to get overwhelmed. In fact, some of the Eagles haven't even closed in yet because they're letting their playmates do the dirty work for them. Now, after a few of their friends have been destroyed, these guys are now closing in to finish off what's left of the Typhoons. I count 4 Typhoons left, and we've probably got 6 Eagles left there. Well, we have lost another Eagle. This is turning into a slightly more even fight, but the Typhoons are probably running low on meteors now, whereas we still have plenty of Jatams left to throw their way. At the moment, it may be pretty even. Let's just check. Yeah, at the moment we've lost is actually the Eagles are losing this one slightly. There goes. In fact, we are just down to 2 Eagles. One of them still has 8 AIM-260s, but that one has fired all of his long-range missiles now. He's just down to winders. These Typhoons are living a very charmed life, shall we say. US taxpayer probably isn't quite so happy. The amount of missiles have been fired. And the EX has taken damage. This may have been an ASRAAM that caused it. And that Eagle has now been destroyed. Looks like the last one is running away. This does seem to almost be the opposite to the last video you saw. In this one, the Typhoons are victorious. Maybe I'm just the unlucky member of the equation here. Whichever side I seem to watch seems to lose. We'll speed up the situation to see if the Typhoons do return to base. They have. So let's just do the final scores on the doors here. It was 9 Typhoons destroyed to 11 F-15EXs. The Typhoons actually didn't fire that many meteors in this. In fact, that's almost a 2 meteor to 1 aircraft kill ratio, almost. Whereas if you look at the amount of AIM-260s fired, the Typhoons definitely did a great job at dodging those missiles and using their decoys. And we will now review the scores from the previous 10 tests we did. So what you say here is that we did run 10 engagements between the FGR-4 and the F-15EX before this. So the results from the past 2 engagements are not on this graph. But as you can see here, the RAF Typhoons did lose 111 aircraft over 10 engagements. The F-15EX Eagle 2s only lost 88. So the F-15EXs did come out on top. And it wasn't unusual for the Typhoons to do better though, and they did even win 1 engagement and fought a few more to what were basically draws. They certainly did better against the EXs than what the Charlie model F-15s did against the Typhoons. So it is interesting to see that the F-15EX Eagle 2 did come out on top. Partly you've got to think because of the AIM-260 missile and the fact it can carry more of them. In fact, that might even be the only reason it's come out on top. But it is a very important reason, and there is that whole slogan of using better bullets than the enemy. There's no doubt that the AIM-260 is going to be a better missile than most Russian and Chinese ones out there, and may also be superior to the European Meteor. But thank you very much for watching this video, and please let us know if you would like to see more similar videos like this, with a bit more in-depth analysis, and where we run multiple engagements, even before we show the videos. And there's certainly plenty of 4.5 generation fighters out there we can do comparisons on, and we will also move on to 5th generation fighters as well. But as I say, thanks for watching this, enjoy the rest of your day, and please do like and subscribe this video if you enjoy this content.